6 million years ago, on the vast savannas of East Africa, survival was not just about hunting. It was about holding ground.
3 hunters left before sunrise, moving south toward the zebra herds. That left only 3 males to Koru. Koru, the group's most experienced defender, watched the northern horizon every morning. This morning, tortoise and silent. Demi, steady and silent, prepared his weapons. Taku, the youngest defender, barely 7.
The females carried no containers, kept no vessels. They drank as their ancestors had always drunk.
Pico, what 9 years old rightlet, had climbed that acacia every morning since he was old enough to reach.
He saw them before anyone else. 9 years old Tell, and the first one to understand what was coming.
He said nothing. He didn't need to. His face said everything. 9 rival males, moving in a spread formation, carrying no food, no tools for gathering, only weapons. Their leader moved with absolute certainty. He had decided before leaving his own camp that morning. 3 defenders, 9 attackers. Koru did not hesitate, but every calculation he made in that moment pointed toward the same answer. Mala had heard that call before, but never with that particular urgency behind it. She moved before she even the callus. The rival leader announced his intentions the only way his kind knew how. Not with words, Koru answered. But even he could hear how thin his voice sounded against what was coming. For one moment, everything stopped. Both groups staring at each other across 50 yards of open ground.
He intercepted the rival 30 yards from the women and children, threw himself at a larger, heavier, more experienced fighter without hesitation. He fought until he couldn't. And when he couldn't fight anymore, he looked up, out, the way the young always look when they finally...
There was no negotiation, no pause. 9 bodies crossing open ground at full speed, and 3 defenders who had nowhere to go.
2 rivals went down from rock strikes. But they recovered and kept coming. The camp became chaos in an instant, every defender fighting multiple attackers at once. The numbers were impossible from the first second. Koru fought with everything he had. But for every rival he pushed back, 2 more pressed forward. Demi was the steadiest fighter in the group, but skill cannot overcome 3 against 1. He was losing ground with every breath. One rival had not joined the main fight. He had seen where the females went, and he moved toward them with quiet. Taku saw the flank move. He was 17 years old Klein, and he ran toward the danger instead of away from it.
Mala had watched Taku fall. She had 1 second of grief. Then she picked up a rock.
The first rock snapped his head back. The second put him down. Mala had never hesitated for a single breath. Demi had never stopped fighting. But 3 against 1 is not a fight. It is an ending. Demi was gone. 2 defenders dead, 1 remaining, and 9 rivals still pressing forward.
When Koru saw Demi fall back, something in him broke open. Not into despair, into something far more dangerous.
He charged 5 rivals alone, not because he thought he could win, because it was all he had left Puce, and he used every piece of it. 3 rivals held him down. The camp was theirs. Everything pointed to the same outcome CAD. And then they had heard the chaos from half a mile away while returning from the hunt. They had run the entire distance. They arrived.
3 fresh fighters hitting 9 rivals from behind, while Koru held them from the front. In one moment, the entire battle changed. Grak read the new mathematics in 1 second. And he made the only rational decision left available to him. One rival moved too slowly. He was surrounded to Fenjit, and he knew it. He fought anyway. The 4th and final death. One attacker who moved too slowly through a camp that no longer belonged to anyone easily.
He beat his chest once before he disappeared into the grass. Not in defeat.
And then it was over. The silence that followed was heavier than the battle had been, because in silence, Koru's body was unmarked. Smooth skin, slim build, completely whole. Ren touched his jaw where the rival had struck him, once, briefly, then let it go. There were larger things to feel than pain.
Pico was 9 years old. He stood beside Taku and looked at him for a long time.
Koru knelt beside Demi and pressed his forehead to his chest, the leader of what remained on the rocks. Mala had thrown the rocks that saved the children. Now she knelt beside the boy who had given her the gather. No one told them to gather. They simply came together, Tarrant, the way living things always move toward each other when the...
They carried their dead to the far edge of camp as the sun climbed toward midday. They placed them side...
Koru looked at every face that remained. He counted them. 9 survivors.
They came back to the fire and did something that might seem impossible after a morning like that one.
Her hands remembered what to do even when the rest of her was somewhere else entirely. Grief and survival existing in the same body at pallets. They cooked the meat their companions had died protecting. There was no ceremony in it, just hands doing what Kether dillit. They ate together fence, all of them, pressed as close as they could get to each other and to the fire.
Koru ate 3 bites. Then he put the meat down and stared north.
Pico kept looking at the acacia tree. He would climb it again tomorrow, Pelez. The 2 females who had held the outcrop sat together and watched the north. They had done something that morning that no one...
The first watch post. 1 male facing north at all times, every hour of every day. It began that afternoon and never stopped.
The weapons training began the very next morning. Ren placed a rock in Pico's hands, and the boy, Koru, showed the females the best defensive positions at the outcrop. But Mala showed him an angle he hadn't seen. By afternoon, the camp had reorganized itself. Watchers at the edges, everyone else pressed to the...
Even drinking from the river changed. Heads up between every sip. Watchers posted while others drank.
9 survivors, every body smooth and whole and present, but 2 spaces at the fire that the living could feel without looking at them, the winter codister. The rivals did not return that season, but Koru kept watching north. He would always watch north.